It's time to join your host, Jean-Francois Gemme, founder of List Building Anonymous, the 12-step program for building a profitable online business, and the only podcast which delivers A to Z strategies from the online trenches and experts straight to you.
Hi, my name is Jean-Francois, and I'm a list builder. I want to welcome you to today's episode where we'll go over the step 4 of the 12 steps program for building a profitable online business. Today we have a very special guest, so we're very fortunate. We have Igor. He's the founder and CEO of Igor Solo Ads, the world's largest solo ad agency. He's the guy, the guru call when they need high quality business opportunity leads that convert. So Igor is passionate about sharing up-to-date traffic and conversion strategies. So how's it going, my man?
Oh, it's going great. Excited to make another appearance on the show. Always a pleasure, and I appreciate you inviting me once again to chat about list building, marketing, and all these cool things that I'm truly passionate about, and the stuff that really makes me wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm really grateful for what I do.
Good. So thank you for being on the show. So today the step 4 is we made a searching and fearless inventory of ourselves to reveal our superpower. The first part I want to discuss with you is how we can do that searching and fearless inventory of ourselves. So first it takes honesty, humility, and courage. And I would like to know how you came up and find your superpower, I guess, many years ago.
Well, I'm not sure about humility when it comes to searching for your superpower. It actually requires you to be more assertive and more daring, kind of say, you know what, I do have a superpower within me and I need to go find it. Most people, they start a business not considering themselves to be anything special, and they don't work on becoming special either. So they sort of just spend their days trying to find the best way to build a business without having any special superpowers, So when I started studying marketing and copywriting, I noticed that as I was buying these information products and coaching programs and software, that every single time I was buying from somebody I was buying from someone with a superpower. Like, the one person was an expert at article marketing, the other one was like an expert at PPC, the third one was an expert at PPV, and it seemed like they all had specialties. Like there was no one guru that was great at everything. There was a very rare thing to see. And most gurus, they kind of chose one thing that they were famous for and they stuck to it. And as I started to pay attention to that, and I started studying copywriting as a skill, as an art, copywriting is salesmanship and print is your ability to convince other people that never speak to you, that never even see your face, to give you money from a distance. One of the rules in the copywriting education that I was going through was you need a superpower. You need something to be known for. You need something that is yours to do, and you do it so well that you're unmatched by anyone else. So that is when I kind of looked at it and I said, you know what? There is truth to that. There is truth to that, and I have to decide what would that one thing be. Now, an important caveat to this is it doesn't really have to be just one thing. It's not like you need just one skill and everything else will fall into place. No, but this one skill should be developed more than your other skills. As an example, think of a football team, right? So there's a specialty for each player. There's the defensive line, there's the quarterback, right? So every person has a skill on the team, but they can all do all these other things. So your job is to become so skilled and so valuable in just one area of expertise that the market will accept you as the fill in the blanks guy. So I'm the solo ads guy, right? So that's my fill in the blanks spot today. Everybody knows me as the solo ads guy, but of course there's other superpowers I have which just are not as powerful, not as powerfully advertised as my traffic generation skills. So when you're looking for your own superpower, the one thing you have to know is that you absolutely need one. You absolutely critically need one superpower for the market to see you as somebody who's different and unique and is worthy of their time and attention. And it's not always that one thing that you love to do, although it could be, but it has to be the thing that you're really good at. For example, if you really, hate dealing with tracking systems and dashboards, but you do have that accountant mind that is able to analyze numbers and come up with conclusions based on numbers, that's going to be your superpower, even if you kind of hate the job, So I honestly believe that the whole do what you love thing is kind of overrated.
Yeah, great. And so you would say that, if I can say in other words, it's important to find one first, but you can develop other after and learn other skills afterward?
Yeah, so what's going to happen is you just can't learn all the skills at the same time. It's just, if humans are not capable of doing that, we are a timeline-based animal, which means we have to take it one step at a time forward. So you have to choose the first skill to learn that you have to choose, and this first superpower to develop needs to be that one thing that you find the easiest to learn. For example, for you, Jean-Francois, I know you're a technician, right? Your skill is that you can take any system online, any software, any membership site, any tool, and you quickly master that tool. So the thing that may take other people month and month to do, and they kind of even give up in the process, it's something you do with ease, and that's going to be your first superpower, among other superpowers that I know you now have, which is list building, which is doing paid media buys, and so on and so forth. So the point is that you always have to choose the one first superpower to start with, but that will never be the end of it. You will be developing your other skill sets as well as time goes on.
Good. And also about what you said, the technical side, I remember, and that's the other subject I would like to discuss with you, is that when I kind of revealed that superpower and decide to focus on that, at that time, for me, it didn't seems to be like a superpower because it was like second nature. So I didn't feel that it was something that much extraordinary. But what I realize is that it's something that happens often to people. They don't see that their superpower because it comes natural. But for some people, like you just explained, you start explaining, is that for the other people, it's something that could take months. So it's important to don't dismiss what comes natural to us. What would you have to say about that?
Well, like I said, it could be something that comes natural to you, but it doesn't have to be. For example, I can't really say that copywriting came natural to me, but that was one of the first few skills that I used in order to make some extra money. Like I was actually writing copy, building squeeze pages for people, writing their sales scripts, etc. And it's not like I enjoyed it. It's not like I woke up in the morning looking forward to writing someone else's sales page. It's just I knew that this is something that other people hate doing, and I was like, okay, so I'll do it for them, and I'll charge them good money for it, and that's how I'll fund my business, at least to an extent, because whatever I was making in my day job wasn't really covering anything. So I learned how to write copy. I studied copywriting. I read the books in copywriting. I practiced my skill. I rewrote, sales letters by hand, and I did it in order to make extra money, in order to develop this quote-unquote superpower, but I honestly hated it. I mean, every step of the way, man, I hated it, and it did not come naturally to me. It took me a good 6 to 8 months or so to get to a point when I was able to, approach somebody and sell them a sales letter. It really was that. And even then, I was only selling that sales letter for like $200, maybe $500, which for me was big money. I mean, $500 was enough for me to cover my rent and bills. And so I needed just another 300 or so for food. That's it. When it came to marketing myself, right, and leveraging this superpower, I was really working hard for very little money. Yet, circling back to the point I was trying to make is that it did not come naturally to me. It was a lot of hard work, trial and error. And, it's not something I enjoyed. At the time, I learned to enjoy it. Like, I learned to really love the process of writing a sales letter, but at the time, I dread it. In fact, I remember writing a sales letter for a client and really taking my time and being behind on my deadline because it was so difficult. It was at home. It was 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The Word document is open. The blank line is just blinking. I got the writer's block. I have no fucking clue. What am I supposed to write? It's really like just every word that came out felt like I was squeezing blood out of a stone. So no, it did not come naturally to me. And what this means to the listeners is that if it doesn't come natural to you, don't discard this as the wrong superpower for you.
Yeah, exactly. And also it's with practicing that you can also get that skills to be really a superpower. And also what I've experienced is that you don't necessarily need to be the best in the world. Being good can already be better than maybe 80% of the people. And one concept that I really liked, I heard it's from a common friend that we have, Russell, is to be one chapter ahead. So what would you have to say about that?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. So when it comes to becoming a leader to other people or being a service provider to other people, all it takes is just knowing a little bit more than they do. I remember selling my first coaching, my first coaching client, somebody who I promised to help them make money, and I only charged that guy about $300, which was nothing really for the education he received. It was a guy from Australia. However, I was about 3 steps ahead of him, so I had the time. As I was learning, right, I had the time to learn him what I knew. So within 90 days of selling that coaching package to him, which included a lot of one-on-one time, I too signed up for a coaching program with another gentleman, and I implemented hard. I was under a lot of pressure, and I really went aggressive. And so within 3 months, I got to a point of making about $7,000 or $8,000 per month, and he was already at a point where he was making $3,000. So by the time I got to about $10,000 per month, he got to about $7,000. So he was always like trailing behind, and for just a very small fee, he received an incredible education that he still uses. He still makes a lot of money selling information products online. I think he lives in Thailand right now. So my point is that a lot of it is about just, I guess, having the balls and the audacity to say, okay, so I know this much. Let me go and find somebody who doesn't know anything, and let me help them. And so I'll just lead the person that can use my help right now, who at the same time can't really afford to be a part of a guru inner circle. And you mentioned our mutual friend Russell Brunson. He charges 25 grand a year to be a part of his inner circle, which I feel is an incredible value for money. And as somebody who makes, 7 figures a year, that is something I'm willing to pay. However, think about somebody who still works a day job. I mean, they're not supposed to pay that much money, right? It's not for them. So, if you're somebody who's willing to start a mastermind at $100 a month or at, $500 a year or something like that, that can be the place for them to be. And as you learn and grow, you kind of take your followers with you. So, yeah, the point you're making is absolutely critical, and it's the truth that when ignored will sabotage your success.
Yeah, and also another angle I add with that is relate to a personal something personal that is not business related, but really for me it put a picture about what we just we're talking about right now. Is in my personal life I play hockey. And I'm a goaltender, but I'm 43 years old, so I'm still good, but maybe not in my best shape in my life. But at some point, something that I realize is that there's some goaltenders that are maybe like 20 years old that are better than me, that are more athletic than me, and would beat me if we play against each other. But with the experience I have, there's many things I can still teach them, even if they're better than me. So that's another way I saw that that ties a little bit with that, to just have the balls to go ahead and teach what we know.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people, when they get online, they look for that shortcut, right? They look for the one system that works. They look for the cinch that sneaks them behind the scenes and allows them to skip the trial and error. But I feel that this trial and error, this journey that you're making when you're making all these mistakes, right? This part of your cycle in this business where you kind of have to be scammed and you have to try strategies that don't work, all this experience that you collect, that is going to be extremely valuable to the people who come after you. Even if they're on the same level or just slightly below, just the fact that you have all this experience you can kind of fall back on and teach them, that alone can be incredibly valuable, and a lot of people are willing to pay a lot of money for it. So if you're at a point right now where you're like a year into marketing and you've made a ton of mistakes and you learned a bunch of things, but you're still not making a ton of money or making no money at all, it doesn't mean you can't really go out there and start offering your expertise and perhaps sell an information product or offer a service or whatever, because a lot of people will be happy to pay money for just to know your experience. That alone can be extremely valuable.
Good. Great. Time to wrap up. So in this episode, we focused on how to perform a searching and fearless inventory of ourselves to reveal our superpower. We also talked about where our superpower can sometimes hide. And lastly, we talked about the concept of being one chapter ahead and be able to teach what we learn. So in the next episode, we'll talk about traffic. So that's another topic that I know you Igor, you really like to talk about.
Oh, I mean, I can. You know what? I'll be honest with you. Traffic is cool. I dig traffic. Traffic is the lifeblood of any business. Well, honestly, it's the marketing and the convincing them to buy that I love to talk so much. And if you don't mind, I'd like to make a plug for my show where I do that. Where I kind of go in and for free, I give you all my secrets as far as convincing other people to buy from you, how to convert traffic, how to write better emails, and how to basically make your media buys or traffic campaigns actually produce some results. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, go ahead and tune into my show. It's called the List Building Lifestyle Show, and you can just Google it. Just Google List Building Lifestyle Show, and it'll probably come up.
Yeah, good. You just add .com.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Thank you to you, Igor, for allowing us to pick your brain.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Good. I want to also thank all listeners for tuning in and look forward to lock arms with you and together master these steps. So until then, I wish you an amazing journey.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.